One of the most stressful situations you can face as an undocumented immigrant is getting stopped by law enforcement or ICE, and being aware of your rights and knowing what they can and can't do could help you face that situation. That's the topic for today's tip of the week. I'm Andre Mejer, the green card doctor. I'm an immigration attorney and an immigrant myself. I came to this country with my family back in the 80s without knowing how to speak English. We were illegally in this country for nearly 10 years. Today, I'm an immigration attorney, and I've dedicated my life to helping immigrants get their green card and become citizens in this country because I know the pain of being in this country illegally. Okay, on to today's topic. As an immigrant, and even more as an undocumented immigrant, getting stopped by law enforcement or ICE is something to fear. But as the saying goes, knowledge is power, and the more you know how to act, the better it will be for you. There are some situations we're going to cover today that may seem similar, but there are some key elements on each one that you should know and could come in handy if you find yourself in one of those situations. We're going to talk about how to react if law enforcement or ICE asks you about your immigration status, if you get stopped by police or ICE in your vehicle, if police or ICE come to your home, if you get stopped by police, ICE, or Border Patrol while in transit, meaning on a bus, on a train, on a plane, if you get detained while your immigration case is already underway, meaning you filed for something, or you've been arrested and need to challenge a deportation order. There's one thing you need to do in any of these situations, and that's stay calm. No matter what happens, the first thing you need to have in mind is just that: stay calm. I know it's easier said than done. Having that in mind, let's review each situation to check the differences each one of them has and what you can do. The first one is how to react if law enforcement asks you about your immigration status. So, don't run, don't argue, don't resist, and don't obstruct the officer, even if you believe your rights are being violated. Keep your hands where the police can see them. You also shouldn't lie about your status or provide false documents. Like in the movies, you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to discuss your immigration or citizenship status with police, immigration agents, or any other officials. Anything you tell the officer can later be used against you in court or an immigration court. If you are not a U.S. citizen and an immigration agent requests your immigration papers, you must show them if you have them with you. If an immigration agent asks if they can search you, you have the right to say no. Agents do not have the right to search either you or your belongings without your consent or without having probable cause. That just means you need to have a really good reason. If you are over 18 years old, you should carry your legal documents with you at all times. If you don't have them, tell the officer you want to remain silent or that you want to consult a lawyer before answering any questions. In some states, you must provide your name to law enforcement if you are stopped and told to identify yourself. But even if you give your name, you don't have to answer other questions. If you are driving and are pulled over, the officer can require you to show your driver's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance. But you don't have to answer questions about your immigration status. Now let's talk about if you're stopped by the police or by ICE. Again, do not lie or give false documents. Prepare yourself and your family in case you are arrested. Memorize the phone numbers of your family and your lawyer. Now, don't just keep it saved on your phone. If you don't have your cell phone with you, how are you going to know who to call? Make emergency plans if you have children or you take medications. You do not have to consent to a search of yourself or your belongings, but police may pat you down your clothing if they suspect you might have a weapon. If you are arrested by police, you have the right to a government-appointed lawyer. If you are detained by ICE, you have the right to consult with a lawyer, but the government is not required to provide one for you. You can ask for a list of free or low-cost alternatives, but often they're not all that good. You do not have to answer questions about where you were born, whether you are a U.S. citizen, or how you entered the country. Separate rules apply at international borders and airports, and for individuals on certain non immigrant visas, including tourists and business travelers. If you get arrested or detained, say you wish to remain silent and ask for a lawyer immediately. Don't give any explanations. Don't give any excuses. Don't say anything. Don't sign anything. Don't make any decisions without first speaking to a lawyer. If you have been arrested by police, you have the right to make a local phone call. The police cannot listen if you are calling a lawyer. If you have been detained by ICE, you have the right to contact your consulate or have an officer inform the consulate of your detention. Remember, your immigration number, they're going to give, if you're with ICE, they're going to give you an A number. Memorize that number and give it to your family. It will help them locate you. If they move you, it will help your attorney get information on your case. If you are a non-citizen, ask your lawyer about the effect of a criminal conviction or plea on your immigration status. Don't discuss your immigration status with anyone but your lawyer. While you are in jail, an immigration agent may visit you. Do not answer questions or sign anything before talking to a lawyer. Read all the papers fully. If you do not understand or cannot read the papers, tell the officer you need an interpreter. If you believe your rights were violated, write down everything you can remember, including officers' badge numbers, patrol car numbers, and any other details. The more information you have and can give to an attorney, the better he or she can help you. Get contact information for any witnesses. Who was there? What did they see? What did they do? If you are injured, seek medical attention immediately and take photographs of your injuries. All right, now let's talk about what to do if police or ICE show up at your home. Keep the door closed. Opening the door does not give them permission to come inside, but it is safer to speak to ICE through the door or a window. You have the right to remain silent, even if the officer has a warrant. You do not have to let police or immigration agents into your home unless they have certain kinds of warrants. If police have an arrest warrant, they are legally allowed to enter the home of the person on the warrant if they believe the person is inside. But a warrant of removal or deportation, it's Form I-205, does not allow officers to enter a home without your consent. Ask the agents to identify themselves, to show you a badge and tell you what they are there for. Ask if they have a warrant signed by a judge and to show it to you in case they do, sliding it down under the door or through a window. Don't open the door unless ICE presents you a judicial search or arrest warrant naming a person in your home. If they have the wrong address, if they have the wrong name, they have no authority then to be there. If they don't have this warrant, you should keep your door closed and state, "I do not consent to your entry." If you must step outside, open the door, step outside, and close the door behind you. Do not let them in. If they force their entry, don't resist and just state, "I do not consent to your entry. I am exercising my right to remain silent. I wish to speak with a lawyer as soon as possible." The next situation is if you get stopped by police, ICE, or Border Patrol while in transit. Again, that means on a plane, on a train, on a bus. If you're in a car, pull over in a safe place as quickly as you can. Turn off the engine, turn on the internal light, particularly if it's at night, and place your hands on the wheel. Upon request, show the police your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. If you are not a U.S. citizen and an immigration agent requests your papers, you must show them if you have them with you. If you're over 18, you should carry your documents with you at all times. However, if you're undocumented and you're an adult, don't give them your passport. You give them the passport, they'll know you're here without permission. So better don't carry the passport. Get some other form of identification Like if you're in New Jersey, you can get a driver's license. You likely should. If you're the passenger in a car, you can ask if you are free to leave. If the officer says yes, you leave slowly and calmly. You can refuse to consent to a search if an officer or immigration agent wants to look in your car. But if the police believe that your car contains evidence of a crime, they can perform the search without your consent. Don't let, they will say, hey, I can go get a court order. Tell them do so. You don't give them permission no matter what. Any arrest or prolonged stop by Border Patrol requires probable cause. You may ask the agents about the basis for probable cause, and they should tell you. If you're on a plane, the pilot may refuse to fly if he or she feels that there is a threat to flight safety, but they cannot deny you entry on a flight based on bias of your religion, race, national origin, gender, ethnicity, or political beliefs. If you are on a bus or a train, Border Patrol agents may board in the 100-mile border region, either at the station or while the bus is on its journey. They can ask passengers questions about their immigration status and to show them immigration documents, but that's only within 100 miles of the border. These questions should be brief and should relate to verifying one's lawful presence in the U.S. You are not required to answer and can simply say you do not wish to do so. As always, you have the right to remain silent. Now, what should you do if you get detained while your immigration case is underway? In most of these cases, it's usual that you will be released either on a bond or without on your own recognizance. Again, it depends on why you're based. If you're being arrested for a criminal case, that's a different story. But if you filed for immigration papers for your green card or something else, and you find yourself in contact with ICE or Border Patrol official, let's say you're on a bus, in Texas, close to the border, you can tell the officer you filed for whatever, for your green card. They will verify that and they will likely release you. If you're detained, you have the right to call your family or a lawyer and have the right to a visit by your lawyer. And you can have your attorney present at any hearing before an immigration judge. If you are denied release after being arrested for an immigration violation, ask for a bond hearing before an immigration judge. In many cases, an immigration judge can order that you be released or that your bond be lowered. Now, you only get one shot at that, so I would highly suggest you speak to an attorney first. And finally, what to do if you've been arrested and need to challenge a deportation order. You have the right to a hearing to challenge deportation process unless you waive your right to a hearing by signing something called a stipulated order of removal, or if you take voluntary departure. You have the right to an attorney, but the government does not have to provide one for you. If you don't have a lawyer, ask the judge to give you time to find one. If you get arrested and are told you do not have the right to see an immigration judge, you should speak with a lawyer immediately. There are some cases in which a person might not have a right to see an immigration judge, and usually it will result in a really fast deportation to your home country. If this is your situation, speak to a lawyer immediately, because immigration officers will not always know or tell you about the exceptions that might apply to you. If you fear persecution or torture in your home country, tell an officer and contact a lawyer immediately. You have additional rights if you're afraid to go back to your country, even if you've already ordered removed from the U.S. And with this, we arrive at the end of our video. These are some of the most common situations you may face when dealing with law enforcement or immigration officers. I hope these tips are useful and can help you if you're ever in any one of those situations. If you need help with your case, call us. If we can't help you, we won't take your money. Thanks for watching. As always, stay healthy and be well.